Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming YB Jason Heng and also all the other VIPs into the hall. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, architects and fellow architecture enthusiasts, a very good morning and a warm welcome to PAMNC Northern Chapter's World Architecture Day Symposium. We are all gathered today here to explore the world of architecture, design, and innovation. I am your MC of the day, Ui Wei, and I'm thrilled to guide you through this enlightening journey. This year's theme, Architecture for Resilient Communities, chosen by the UIA Council, is a beacon guiding our journey. It reminds us of the profound impact that architecture can have on the vitality of our communities and the relationship between urban and rural landscapes. We live in a world where uncontrolled urban sprawl threatens the very balance of our environment, society, and economy. Recent global challenges, including the climate crisis, the pandemic, and political disruptions, have unveiled glaring inequalities, particularly affecting the most vulnerable among us. As we gather here today, we embark on a journey of exploration, reflection, and inspiration. We question the efficiency of conventional planning methods, seeking more innovative ways to organize our territories and craft architecture that respects our environment and our diverse societies. We aspire to create spaces and structures that breathe life into communities, preserving cultural heritage and reconnecting us with the natural world and biodiversity. Distinguished guests, we're about to embark on an exciting journey today, and it all starts with a warm welcome. Now, please put your hands together for our organizing chairman of this year's PAMNC Northern Chapter's World Architecture Day, Architect Liao Guangjun, on stage to deliver his welcoming speech. Please welcome.
Hi, a very good morning, and a warm welcome to our honored guests, YB Jason Heng, Adun for Local Government and Town and Country Planning. Architect Abu Zarim, President of PAM, Pertubuhan Architect Malaysia, Dato A.R. Loh Chek Yong, PAM Northern Chapter Chairman, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome to World Architecture Day on a discourse of the topic of resilient community, architecture resilience and communities. In an era characterized by environmental challenges, rapid urbanization and social complexity, architecture plays a very important role. This seminar will feature speakers from Indonesia, Malaysia, Taiwan, and Thailand. They will dwell into the multifaceted aspect of designing buildings for resilient communities. The diverse perspective and experience from these four countries offer a comprehensive exploration of architecture solutions for the present and future challenges. The details of the topic and the synopsis, I'll leave it to the MC and the moderator. They will tell you what it's all about. The seminar will delve into various aspects of architectural resilience, including sustainable design, community involvement, and urban planning. Attendees will gain valuable insight into the innovative approach to tackle challenges, nurture community cohesion, and prepare for an uncertain future. In summary, the takeaway, hopefully, from this seminar is understanding the role of architecture in fostering resilient communities, exploring sustainable architecture practice and green building solutions, learning from case studies in Indonesia, Malaysia, Taiwan, and Thailand, and discover how urban planning can enhance resilience against possible natural disaster and social change. Most importantly, involving local communities in the architecture and urban planning, the process to ensure a resilience of the project. Excuse me. Okay, I won't keep it too long, but please allow me to thank those people who are our very loyal sponsor, platinum sponsor Swissmar, the roof and cladding technology solution people, VTrack Premium Home Lift Solutions, and our gold sponsor, Grohe American Standard Premium Sanitary Ware, and another gold sponsor, Polyglass Fiber, Building Insulation Fiber. Other sponsors include, I just named them, Stream, Sika, MBR Group, Gozera, 4 Lemonade Industry, Knauf, Nippon Paint, Nairo Granite, Saint-Gobain, SKB, Mape, Juton, Taylor Living Tiles, and Camsil. Without their support, this event would probably not happen. Thank you very much. And obviously not forgetting the hard work the subcommittee from PAMNC Northern Chapter has put in. I think there are about 60 of us behind the scene doing this exhibition and organizing this event. And also, I hope some of you or most of you can attend the dinner in a couple of weeks' time, which is the 50th anniversary dinner. Thank you for your very loyal support. Last but not least, not forgetting our very, very hard-working secretariat, Pat and Zuri, who unfortunately cannot be here due to unforeseen circumstances. So I will hand over to you, to the capable hand of Dato Architect Loh Check Yong, the PAMNC Northern Chairman, to give a speech. Please welcome Dato Architect Loh Check Yong.
Selamat pagi, salam sejahtera kepada semua hadirin yang saya hormati. Terutamanya tetamu kehormat kami, YB Jason Heng, who is also the Wakil Ketua Menteri and also the Chairman for the ESCO for local government and town and country planning. PAMNC President, Architect Abu Zarim, Dato Sri, Dato, Dati Natin, and representative from SPEAK stakeholders and our dear fellow members. Welcome to the World Architecture Day celebration on this significant day. Today we gather to honor and celebrate the remarkable contributions of architects in shaping our built environment and explore the theme of design for resilient communities. Throughout history, architects have played a pivotal role in shaping the social and cultural fabric for the communities. Their visionary designs have not merely been about creating functional spaces, but about shaping the very essence of our societies. Today, however, the world faces pressing challenge, the urgent need to address the impact of climate change and ensure the sustainability of our built environment for resilient communities. It is essential to recognize that communities are built by people, and their needs and aspirations should always be the priority in the design of our built environment. Architects must engage with the people and the communities they serve, understanding their social and economic background to enhance their standard of living inclusively, regardless of their origin. By fostering meaningful dialogues and partnership with the communities, local authorities, and the state governments, architects can create environments that truly benefit the users and the wider communities. Talking about here, YB, especially now we have this BM market competition, it would be good if designers can engage the locals. You know, they will know their needs. In fact, if we actually understand their needs and we design according to that, they will feel that they have that ownership of the market, so they will enjoy going there. Also, engagement with the communities is very, very important. The theme of 2023 WAD is designed for resilient communities. This is one of the 6 discussion panels formulated by UIA, World Congress of Architects 2023 in Copenhagen on 2nd to 6th of July this year to seek feedback from architects around the world to explore, to communicate how architecture influences and responds to the 17 UN Sustainable Development Goals. The 6 topics are design for climate adaptation, 2, design for rethinking resources, 3, design for resilient communities, 4, design for health, 5, design for inclusivity, 6, design for partnership for change. Now, a resilient communities anticipates, adapt to, and recovers from adversity. In Penang context, the adversity can be flooding, haze, earthquake, typhoon, pandemic, and the resultant socio-economic, environmental, and health system stress that accompany with it. Communities are people. People create communities. Architects can positively impact the life of millions, even billions, by building for the future and creating communities that last. Resilient communities are communities that thrive even through hardship and well-equipped to handle the challenges of the future. Climate change, the global pandemic, political upheaval in many countries have revealed social, economic, and environmental inequalities that threaten communities worldwide. These fault lines disproportionately impact the poor, people of color, the racially and ethnically marginalized, and of course, women. The 17 UN Sustainable Goals, they adopted by 193 countries, and the new urban agendas offer an inclusive roadmap to a more sustainable future. Design for Resilient Communities seeks to encourage familiarity with the interconnection between all the SDGs and the target. And through education, design, and planning, the SDG can enhance the community resilience for specific localities and people. There are 17 SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals, and there are 169 targets together. Furthermore, architects should also take responsibility for addressing the degradation of our environment, the depletion of the valuable resources. We must design with sustainability at the forefront of our mind and finding innovative solutions that minimize our ecological footprint and safeguarding the future of our planet. Today, I would also like to express our deep gratitude to the organizing committee led by architect Casey Liao and the construction industry players, our sponsors, who have generously sponsored and supported this celebration. Their commitment and contribution are vital in making this event a success. And not least, our fellow members who are here today, my deep felt gratitude for your presence today. It is through all your contribution and dedication that we are able to gather together in today's celebration and to acknowledge the remarkable achievement of architects worldwide. Again, I wish to thank YB Jason Heng, our PAMNC president, and our stakeholders for gracing the opening of today's World Architecture Day. In conclusion, let us rejoice the invaluable contribution of the architects throughout history and reflect upon the importance of designing for resilient architecture by prioritizing the needs of our community, engaging with stakeholders, and addressing environmental concerns. We can create a sustainable and prosperous future for all. Together, let us embrace the challenges ahead, and shape resilient community that will stand the test of time. Thank you, and enjoy the World Architecture Day celebration. Thank you.
Thank you, Dato Architect Lo Chiak Yong. Up next, please put your hands together to welcome our PAMNC President, Architect Abu Zarim, on stage to share his thoughts with us. Welcome, Architect Abu Zarim.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. All right. Yang YB Jason Heng Mui Lin, Wakil Chief Minister. PAM Northern Chapter Chair, Dato Lo Chiak Ong. Okay. Past chairman, I think there's quite a lot of you around here. Speakers, okay. I think there's 5 or 6 of you here. I hope you all deliver good messages to our members here. Right, PAM members, especially from the northern chapters, okay? The other one, without actually saying something about this, you know, the sponsors, I think there's platinum, silver, and platinum, gold, and silver, okay? All of them are very, very important to you guys here. Okay, without which I think none of this can actually start. Right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the PAM Northern Chapter World Architecture Day Symposium 2023. Okay, I am truly honored to be here in this historic Penang Hall in Penang. Okay. I just remembered basically, you know, when I drove here or when I was driven here, I told them, okay, you know, I'm here, I've been here once or twice as a tourist, okay? So just to give a background here a little bit, all right? I've been here actually this year alone, I think 3, maybe 4, and plus 2 more, I'm coming back, okay, which is the dinner, 1 week's time. And also the final judging of the Bukit Mutajam market. So that will be actually, so a little bit more, maybe I can ask for a PR, for Penang punya PR. What say you, YB? Boleh ke? All right. Okay, back to the WAD, all right. For those not in the know, okay, World Architecture Day is celebrated annually on the first Monday of the year to highlight the importance of architecture in developing cities and human settlement. Okay, the day was established by the UIA, International Union of Architecture, way back in 1985. Okay, and is celebrated by over than more than 150 countries around the world. So we in Malaysia, via PAMNC and via also our chapters, we do the same. Okay, it is celebrated first Monday, but because of our time and activities, as long as we don't do it in November, I think that should be the way, right? Now the theme for this year's World Architecture is Architecture for Resilient Communities. This theme is more important as we face the challenges of climate change, natural disaster, and global crisis. When we talk about resilient communities, okay, are basically communities that are designed and built to withstand and recover from the shock and economic downturn, climate change, and they should also be adaptable to the changing condition and strive in the long term. As architects, we play a vital role in creating resilient communities. We design buildings, infrastructure that are resistant to all these disasters and promote at the same time sustainable living and foster social cohesion. What do we mean by that? I'll give you some examples here. Basically, what we do is we design buildings and infrastructure that are resistant to natural disasters. This can involve using material and construction methods that can withstand high winds. I think Penang is also going up and up, okay, although you have a limit certain places, but I think eventually you will go up. Maybe not as high as the PNB 118, but who will never know, okay? I think Komta was one of the first few tile buildings in Malaysia, not only in Penang, in Malaysia. All right? That can withstand high winds, floods, earthquake, okay? And it's important in a way that minimizes the risk of damage to people and property. We at the same time promote sustainable living, okay? That these buildings are energy efficient, water-wise, produce minimum waste. I saw a lot of, I think there was this one that actually talks about collecting waste. So please do look into that. Another part that we do is basically we foster social cohesion, all right? So this means that we encourage people to interact and build relationships. Okay, this can help create a strong sense of community, which is essential for the resiliency. Simply stating, okay, we architects can help create resilient communities. How? Creating walkable and bikeable communities, which I see some of what the state government are doing at the moment. Okay, preserving and revitalizing historic buildings and neighborhood. Again, another strong trait of the government that are promoting this. Promoting mixed development, use, and affordable housing. Investing in public parks and spaces. Communities can also play a vital role in addressing climate change, which is now a talk not only in Malaysia, but all over the world, okay? I think climate change is also affecting Penang in many ways. Some of the things that individuals can conclude or can do include reducing their carbon footprint by using less energy and driving less. I think one of the things is transport is also very important in Penang. I think there's a lot. The LRT is coming, okay? I don't know when is it. Very soon, YB? Okay, that will help actually some of the traffic jams that from the airport to the city center. This morning was very good, but I asked my friend just now, basically when I'm going back this evening, how long should I go before reaching there? And then quietly he said, 1.5 hours, Saturday? Saturday, okay? All right. Okay, so maybe I'll do it in 1 hour. Okay. So, right. These are some of the things that basically the government, okay, Penang, are doing or is doing. Okay? Basically, let's talk about climate change impact in in Penang, okay, and the effect that is becoming more and more severe in the future. One of the most significant climate change is the sea level rising, correct? And not only you, I think all the rest of the Malaysia is also, beaches will be gone in I don't know how long, but these are the impact that is going to happen. And most of the coastal cities along Malaysia, Peninsula especially, will be affected. All right, the other one is the risk of storm, surge, and flooding, okay? Another major impact of the is precipitation pattern. Penang is experiencing extreme rainfall events, downpour, and flash flood. This is causing damage to the infrastructure and the property, and also increases the risk of landslides. So what can the government do? Well, I'm basically saying that they can do this, are most probably doing it themselves. Investing in coastal protection measures like seawalls and mangrove restoration, developing drainage system to reduce the risk of flooding, and constantly raising the awareness of climate change and its impact. I think the government is doing that. We as the custodian, one of the custodians should always remind ourselves that this is very, very important because it affects the public, all right? And therefore the public must also take part in it. All right, before I end, I would like to take this opportunity to thank all the architects and engineers who are here today. Your work is essential to creating a better future for all of us. I would like to invite everyone to join us in celebrating World Architecture by learning more about architecture and its importance to our lives. Visit an architectural landmark, attend a lecture or two, or simply take a walk around your neighborhood and appreciate the beauty of the buildings and the environment around you. I would like to also thank the team that has organized this event because I think it is very, very important. We're getting everybody in here. All right, I think that's about it that I have. Thank you very much and have a happy World Architecture Day and do enjoy the symposium today. Dengan lafaz Bismillahirrahmanirrahim wal billahi taufiq wal hidayah wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Architect Abu Zarim, for his insightful speech. Last but not least, it's a privilege to invite YB Jason Heng to join us and present his keynote address. Please welcome YB Jason Heng.
Thank you to the MC. Malaysian Institute of Architects Northern Chapter Chairman, Datuk Architect Loh Chiak Yong, President of Malaysian Institute of Architects, Tuan Architect Abu Jarim, Malaysian Institute of Architects Northern Chapter World Architecture Day 2023, Organizing Chairman, Architect Liao Kwang Chun, members of the PAMNC, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, selamat pagi, salam Malaysia Madani, salam Penang 2030. Good morning and welcome to the launch of the Day of the World Architecture Day celebration here in Penang. I am deeply honored to stand before you today as representative of Yang Amat Mohamad Chief Minister and the Penang State Executive Councillor in charge of local government and town and country planning portfolio. Firstly, I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude to the Malaysian Institute of Architects for extending this invitation to me. It is truly a privilege to address such an esteemed gathering of professionals who have dedicated their lives to the art and social side of architecture. Today, we gather here to appreciate the invaluable contributions of architects around the world, and most importantly, right here in Penang. Architects are the visionaries who shape our built environment, creating space that inspires, comfort, and uplifts us. They transform mere structures into expressions of art, blending functionality and aesthetic seamlessly. In Penang, we are fortunate to have a rich architectural heritage that dates back centuries, from the history buildings of Georgetown to the modern masterpiece that dot our skyline. Our architectural landscape is a testament to the creativity and ingenuity of the architects who have left their mark on our beloved state. However, as we celebrate the achievement of our architects, we must also recognize the challenges that lie ahead. Climate change and environmental protection have become critical considerations in the design and construction of our built environment. Architects have a unique role to play in addressing these challenges, as they hold the power to create sustainable, resilient, and environmentally friendly structures, and to the living of all walks of life inclusively. It is essential for architects to keep in mind the 17 Sustainable Development Goals set by the United Nations as they design and build our cities, as reflected in the theme of World Architecture Day this year, namely Architecture for Resilient Communities. This goal serves as a roadmap for creating a better, more sustainable future for all. By incorporating these principles into their works, architects can contribute significantly to the well-being of our communities and the preservation of our planet. Looking ahead, I'm filled with optimism for the collaborations between Penang State and the Malaysian Institute of Architects Northern Chapter. We value your expertise and insight, and we see great potential in our engagement with your esteemed members. Together, we can work towards realizing a shared vision of a built environment that truly serves the needs of our people and fosters sustainable development. In conclusion, I would like to once again thank the Malaysian Institute of Architects for organizing this World Architecture Day celebration, and I am delighted to announce the formal launch of this event. We have a lineup of thought-provoking discussion, exhibitions, and workshops planned for the coming days, celebrating the past accomplishment and inspiring future innovation in the world of architecture. Let us use this opportunity to appreciate and honor the remarkable contributions of architects around the world, and particularly those in our cherished state of Penang. Together, let us inspire each other, challenge ourselves, and create a brighter future for architecture and built environment. Thanks again, and may this World Architecture Day celebration be resounding success. Thank you very much.
Thank you, YB Jason Hung. Please remain on stage for the next session. Ladies and gentlemen, as a symbol of our deep gratitude and appreciation, we would like to invite PAM Northern's Chapter's Chairman, Dato Architect Loh Chia Yong, to come on stage and present a token of appreciation to YB Jason Hung. Once again, thank you, Dato Architect Loh Chia Yong, and thank you, YB Jason Hung, to join us on this very special occasion. Ladies and gentlemen, before we dive into the exciting sharing sessions, we would like to take a moment to express our heartfelt gratitude to our platinum sponsor, Swissmar Building Technologies, for their invaluable support. Their partnership has been instrumental in making this event possible, and we are truly thankful for their commitment. Now, please welcome the Managing Director of Swissmar, Mr. Loh Ping Hung, on stage for this presentation.
Hello. Good morning and salam sejahtera, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Indeed, Swissmar is more than happy to contribute to this World Architectural Day, especially playing a part in inviting the distinguished speakers to share their experience and their wisdom. So without further ado, let me start off a short presentation to explain who we are. So I'll play a short corporate video. Some of you could have viewed this, but nevertheless.
Swissmar is Malaysia's leading roofing and cladding solutions provider. Over the years, it has grown leaps and bounds and firmly established Swissmar as a leading global supply and service provider. Through its relentless pursuit of technological innovations and advancements, Swissmar holds firm its steadfast commitment to providing total consumer satisfaction with effective service and customer care, offering everlasting returns on investments for all stakeholders. At Swissmar, we believe in materializing the world's structural visions with great integrity, employing the best of customized technology and manufacturing solutions which are fit for the communities of now and tomorrow. Thus, some of the most beautiful, long-lasting, iconic buildings across the Klang Valley carry our mark, including various infrastructure, industrial and commercial buildings, and upmarket residential units. At Swissma, precision manufacturing is what we do best, and our work is also complemented by other services like architectural consultation, design engineering, research and development, and innovation to ensure we offer our best products and services to our customers. We received the Brand Laureate Award for 3 consecutive years and awards from one of Malaysia's largest Chinese dailies, Sinchu Daily.
We have to constantly adapt to the market needs, to what customer wants, and most importantly, we need to innovate.
Offering the best of steel as its raw material, BlueScope plays a key supporter in establishing Swissma as a premier choice for the world's roofing and cladding solutions. Colorbond steel, made by BlueScope with proprietary Australian technology, is a true testament of time. Ultimate durability solution that meets international standards and performance expectation to ensure your iconic structures and its beauty are protected for a lifetime. At Swissma, innovation lies at the heart of everything we do.
Okay, so Swissma as a company, we don't just produce metal roof and sell it as a product. We provide total solution for roofing and cladding system. So by total solution, what do? We provide design service, roof system design that is. We produce it, manufacture it in our factory in Shah Alam. And some certain projects, we come on board as a contractor, either domesticated or nominated. Designing a roof system is very important. We don't just have a roof. A roof must meet its intended requirements. So for example, U value, thermal resistance is now very key. It's mandatory even for UBBL, under UBBL to comply with a U value of 0.4. We have software to work out STC value if you have any acoustic requirements, be it cinemas, convention centers, and so forth. So taking into considerations all your technical requirements, we then customize a roof system. We also can assist you to do gutter downpipe sizing if you need us to help out. And most importantly, shop drawings. I think every project, if you want to have satisfactory work done, it all starts with shop drawings. Then the site guys can actually monitor to make sure that the project is constructed according to the design intentions. We don't just sell coated steel as a company. We also provide solutions with non-ferrous material. You can see from the slides here, we have Colorbond, Zincalam, even pure titanium, titanium, zinc, copper, stainless steel, aluminum. We also do membrane roof. As for coated steel, we buy all coated steel from BlueScope. BlueScope is our strategic business partner. They have good quality coated steel, and we only work with good quality products. These are the market segments. In short, we are able to participate in any projects that requires a metal roof or membrane roof solution. I just want to share this particular product, which is FM approved. This FM approved metal deck is used widely now in the Penang states for this FM approved membrane system. All these foreign direct investments, they require this kind of FM approved membrane roof system. These are some of the projects that we have participated. We have Micron, Osram, Infineon, Intel, and so forth. We also have participated in many projects here, which are customized solutions. For example, Boston, Analog Devices, Venture Electronics, Robert Bosch, even the Penang Swing Club in titanium zinc, and the Prince of Wales Island International School. So we are in a position to assist in all kinds of materials that you prefer. This is a typical system that we have supplied in Penang for the E&E sectors. We have a mock-ups at our booth. You can have a closer look and understand the system. UBBL compliance, like I mentioned earlier, so we need to customize a roof to meet that compliances. So it's either a single skin roof or a double skin roof. And I'm just showing examples of how the roof system can be customized. So earlier on, is using mineral wool to be compressed down to achieve the U value. This is using air cavity. And here again is another way of using air cavity to achieve the thermal resistance. Every system has its pros and cons, so you have to understand when and why you choose such a system. This is a typical multi-story warehouse, right? In the past, warehouse are always single-story. Nowadays, it's multi-story. So what's the significance of that? Significant is that now Bomba, our Malaysia Bomba, is very concerned about fire safety on the facade cladding. So if you're building height, be it factories or commercial, more than 18 meters, you need to go for 8414 test. And this is a typical example of how the test is carried out. And this is actually a test carried out on one of our systems. And that was carried out for this particular project, a shopping mall in Klang Valley. So this is a metal deck cladded shopping mall. Is rightly, at this moment, the longest cladded, metal deck cladded mall in Malaysia. So it's a very cost-efficient, very sustainable solution. So just list down some of the concerns or design needs that you, as a designer, would have. I hear a lot about sustainability. I hear a lot about green values. So it all starts with design. So we are here to help you, to assist you, to meet your design needs, to develop a sustainable, safe, and as well as a long-lasting roof. So with that, I end my sharing. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Low. Now, without further ado, let's get started. Our first speaker is a visionary in the field of architecture. Introducing Form Zero, an architectural research studio founded in Kuala Lumpur in 2012. They are dedicated to sustainable design and reshaping the connection between architecture and tropical landscapes in urban settings. Led by founder Lee Cheng-yi, Form Zero challenges architectural norms, creating tailor-made award-winning projects like Planter Box House. Architect Lee Cheng-yi, an architect and with a global background, drives Form Zero's innovative approach. Accompanying him is Caleb Ong, a Malaysian architectural designer known for his exceptional work. Their lecture, Redelineating the Border of Tropical Landscape, explores the dynamic relationship between urban living and tropical environments, using architecture to blur the lines between public and private spaces, gardens, and interiors. Now, please join me in giving a warm and welcome to speakers, architect Lee Cheng-yi and Caleb Ong. Before we begin the session, we would like to express our gratitude once again to YB Jason Heng to this special occasion. Thank you, YB.
Good morning. We believe to be resilient is to be allow our life to be able to be expandable and contractable. I think especially after COVID, we realize, most of us, that how rigid our built environment is. So today we want to talk about how our practice from zero is going to constantly questions how we see our life with a lot of very defined border and line. Of course, most of the times, we as an architect, we draw line to make things very clear-cut. But sometimes we also want to be able to expand and contract what is considered the space and built environment and allow things to be more flexible. But as an architect, border and boundary, it's always our biggest concern because it limits and defines how we work and where we work. So, of course, we are very familiar with this, that in our urban context in Malaysia, everything starts to block out. We start to oversize the urban blocks. We start to make the city more and more enclosed. And we start to make our neighborhoods getting less and less penetrable. So, and beside that, this is behind my house. It used to have a walkable lane, and then slowly the neighbors start to close up to increase the neighborhood blocks. So everything becomes less and less accessible. And to a certain extent, I would say the city become less and less walkable, permeable, less penetrable. So we constantly want to question ourselves, like, especially after COVID, how do we make our future livings that will be able to cope with all these very important issues? We're going to talk about 3 single-family houses and how are they going to respond to their neighborhood and also within their own family. This is quite a large house on top of a hill that facing a reserve forest. So the client's intent is to chop down the tree in order to see the city. Of course, if you are a nature lover, you would not want to do that. So we have to counter offer something that will preserve as much as possible. So, and this is one of the houses in the neighbor, which is a very typical villa in Malaysia. We don't want to comment them, but when you look at a typical house like that, you start to question the first thing is the window, because most of the times, the neighbor, especially people like them, they don't want to interact with each other. And the window, most of the time, is you drop down curtain. So for this project, we started with the question of the purpose of window, which is a very, very fundamental questions of architecture that normally we would take it for granted. So for this job, we have a few family members, and there are so many rooms and so many functions that we have to squeeze in this house. So what if every room has its unique window and it serves a different purpose so that the window is not a generic element? And when we start to stack up all the basic functions in the house, but it comes with a problem. The owner asked us not to throw any landscape in this house because they don't want to maintain it. And they want us to clear everything. But eventually, we managed to convince them, to ask them to give it a try. What if The plants are just indoor plants that they don't need to do much maintenance. If they don't like it, they can get rid of it later. So they agree with us. But they also have concern with the privacy. I think all of us, especially once you go through the COVID periods, the privacy escalate to another issue. So, especially when you're living in this kind of neighborhood where the rich people, they actually don't want to look at each other. So we say, how can we offer them a house in a house where you can look out to the nature, but your neighbor will not stare at you? So we come up with the idea of a house in a house where we give another protections of a house. And yet, at the same time, we think that the house is in such a wonderful location where you can look out and allow us to frame a certain view so that every single room has a unique viewing experience. So for example, if you know that is actually a Batu Cave, which is one of the most iconic nature landscapes in the city. And this is my contractor. So when we tested out the first wall, where the client realized that it was a very bad unfinished concrete, they actually freaked out. So they asked us to repaint the entire facade. But the husband wants to maintain the original concrete. So the wife said, can we do half painted and half non-painted? At the end, I think the wife wins. But at the end, we managed to clean up the facade. Actually, this is the rooftop where you can see the tiny little twin tower. And we also purposely make all the windows super, super deep so that they have a sense of framing. When we complete the house, a lot of indoor has no window. We ask the clients, are you okay when the insect and the bird fly through the house? They say they don't mind. In case, if they cannot bear with the insect and the birds, like this, I give them a plan B. I say, you can seal off this corridor and seal off all the window. But today, they still want to maintain the perforation of the facade. It's because the ventilation is too good that it gives them really, really a lot of fresh air inside the house, and they're very, very happy with it. So they rather to bear with the less enclosed inside the house. So every window is completely based on what is the room and the function behind. And also, it acted as the privacy screen. And this is the 4 family member. So most of the times, when we design this house, we want to give them a confusion whether they are really living inside the house or a sense of outside. So the house inside the house has this green buffer landscapes that slot in between the 2 shelves.
And all this is increasingly even more important after the pandemic occur, so that during any quarantine or any time that being rested at home, one will enjoy the nature.
So the client did come back to tell us, say that how much today they appreciate the green inside the house, because the moment they move in, it was the lockdown of COVID. So the second house, planter box house, of course, most people are quite familiar with this. It was actually settled in a very old neighborhood in Kuala Lumpur. As you can see, in this neighborhood, a lot of houses already transformed because this neighborhood is about 30 plus to 40 years old. So all the original house actually is in very bad conditions. The owner came to us that they inherited these old houses. The condition inside was quite bad, that the ventilations, the ceiling is very low, and there's a lot of split level, that they don't like it. So they say, for more future-proof, whether we can maximize the volumes and also make it as spacious as possible. But they give us a dilemma. They want a lot of plant, yet they want a big house. So it was a struggle for us. And in this project, we also want to question what is the typology of terrace house in Malaysia, and what defines terrace house. Whether it's the profile, whether it's the continuous horizontality, whether it's the border that separate the neighbors, and or what is the street profile that guide the way we walk along the street or define the neighbor relationship. And also the relationship between the outside and the inside world. Is it because of the facade or because of the fence? So we want to use this house to refine all those intangible lines. So we come to learn that the first tree, which is the jasmine tree, has been there for 30 years. And it was so important to the owner that we think it is important to keep the tree. And we want to use this tree as a first landscape for the house. So after we demolish, we decided to have a super open, transparent house for the people live inside, but not to the outside. And when we stack out all these spaces, and then we create this cascading landscape. So at a glance, it may focus too much on the horizontality of the house, that showing as a 3 stacked volume. But we decided to mess it up so that it creates these confusions of stacking landscape. While we do the planter box, we have this question of, is the house being organic living things, or it is an artifact that it doesn't grow? So we wanted to test with sort of series of organic texture, and luckily the client has found these Orang Asli native people from Seremban. So they approached them to ask them to sell us their typical split bamboo wall panel. So we took some, we asked the contractor to test it, and the result is quite phenomenal because it was a little bit unpredictable. Sometimes it was a bit hard to control because the inconsistency. But at the end, me and my clients, that we have decided to go for it because of this natural, unpredictable beauty of that. And at the same time, we also want to incorporate something a bit more advanced technology, which is the bubble deck system. So the bubble deck system allowed the entire house to be column-free. By having so, the roof also gives a better thermal insulation to the house. And when we finished that, everyone called this, it's a bunker house. It was a very unfriendly relationship with all the neighbor.
Similarly, with the first project, after that was done, everyone also freaked out a little bit, right?
So the client has to do some PR jobs with all the neighbor, from being the enemy until they start to grow a lot of food and start to share with the neighbor. And there are about 5 to 6 types of banana tree at least, which is exchanged with all the neighbor. So a lot of neighbors will come to discuss about their planting knowledge because the neighbor, this owner is very, very good in planting and farming. And of course, they come with the basic rules of the landscape. They want to make everything edible almost. And of course, this is only the first 6 months of the house, but today, most of this plan already changed to something else. This is a very important detail for this job. When we finish casting using the split bamboo, there's a lot of bamboo fiber debris was stuck inside the concrete wall, something that is so difficult to prevent. Me as a designer, I have OCD, I want perfect, I want everything cleaned. For me, this is far beyond acceptable. But when we discuss with the client, the house being also a semi-organic object that grow things. So within itself, when we look at this process of casting the concrete, that is organic living things that's stuck inside, that sort of integrated together. I think that is what makes the planter not only to grow organic, but the process itself is also being organic, something that we should embrace as part of the process. So we decided to keep all this bamboo fiber on the facade. That was a very original idea that we learned from Window House, that the interior is nearly no curtains. So we want to create a house that only have beautiful landscape outside your window. Of course, all clients don't want maintenance. So when we create a house that nearly has no curtains, they're very happy.
And then the bare-face finish, the one that is very organic, make it less obvious when it's having any stain. So in one way, it's reducing maintenance.
Yeah, you basically cannot tell whether it's a stain or the bamboo texture. Of course, each planter are not randomly designed. They are adjusted and shaped according to the functions of each room and each floor. And sometimes we also use it to control the privacy, or sometimes we also use it to adjust to see the view of the city. And when we are facing a large opening towards a neighbor, what do? Then we create another large creeper screen to block the view. As we want everything super transparent, the staircase, it was an object that sort of become the obstructions, to the space, right? So we decided to make the staircase super light so that visually it's very transparent across the room. So we constantly, in all our projects, this is one of our very big questions, that how do we create this relationship between the nature and the built environment, and what can we learn from nature? And we are very lucky to have these clients that when we come to realize these projects, we constantly have a lot of technical discussions. And one of the key things that we come out is to learn from how we can harvest the stormwater. I think harvesting stormwater is an easy job. But what is really, really difficult to implement in this project, and I'm very grateful that the client is going through a very difficult process with us, is to create this cascading overflow pond as a stormwater, and at the same time, it is irrigations, that it will go around the house, from collecting and then overflow from one to another. And of course, this is 100%, I would say, invented by the client himself, that he will go to attend courses and learning how to create a self-irrigation systems. And this is a basic way of how the water is overflowed throughout the house. And in the middle of the staircase, we also use it as a stack effect so that all the air will channel out through the roof. And you can see that when the staircase is closed in this glass box, that is where the air flowed. We also have Professor Robert Power come to visit. At the time, that was at the beginning, that the owners start to experiment paddy just for the sake of having fun to test a different kind of food and crops. What can the roof do? But today, the roof is a lot more busy. And season by season, they also will test a different kind of vegetable and food just to see how much they can grow. Of course, most of the time it's quite abundant because there's only so much they can eat. The rest of it, they will start to share out. This is their first season when we completed the house. I think it's more than 40 types. The client also have the habit of checking out who is eating their food, whether it's a squirrel, insect, but they don't mind. They say that human nature and all others, animal and insects, should coexist with them. So every visit, I will come back with food from them. They have grown extra. This video is showing a simple documentary of how they live from morning until night of a day.
So to recycle back, we just want to highlight on the streetscape because the first planter box start at the jasmine tree, right at the roadside. On that element, we introduce a series of small benches so that when people jog around there, that's a place where the discussion, some interaction between the owner and the neighbor, that's usually where it occurs. Like topics of how to farm or exchanging food usually occur right at the beginning, where the first planter started. So using the process and cultivated from these few projects, we expand further on the third project that is featured today. Which we call it the borderless house. So we were very inspired by this image where we will explain later on. Again, we always question the fundamentals of our building and our projects, whereby, like as explained in the previous two projects, the borders between neighbors are what we challenged in the first two projects. Whereby this is the site where we presented the site. We went to the site, there's not really any neighbors nearby at that time. While the client has specifically emphasized on the privacy and the border between the family members. So that is another deeper dimension and depth that we look at, because usually we look at the borders between the house itself, the neighbor, and the second project we talk about towards the frontage of the street. While this project, we also look into the dimension of the borders, the privacy between the family member themselves. So one of the questions we try to explore and ask is that what will happen if we design a garden of house rather than usually what people do is a house with garden. We want to make the garden as one of the main elements in this project, and we see how far we can go. So inspired by Chinese garden, they always create views and they provide views, further extending the depth of the house. So using this kind of same principle, we started exploring, again, borrowing a bit from window house, using the kind of rectangular openings where we show certain element behind, framing the view with landscape, and thinking on how can we create the kind of space in between the family members where you feel like you're in your own bedroom, but you feel connected to the whole house, like a big connected space. So this is kind of like a sketchy exploration using the kind of framing Chinese garden principles integrated into a whole big space where every little family members could have their own space. So these are kind of like the idea that we want to have, so that only at certain corner you see each other, at certain corner you have your own privacy. Sometimes it's about looking at whether it's a dinner ready, looking at whether is there someone at the pool. So this is what we envision, and this is the final outcome of what's getting built. So imagine you are in your bedroom, this is your view out. There's already certain view that we created just to frame to create a view and extended out towards your private garden courtyard. And then when you open up the glass wall, the whole bedroom seems to be a lot wider and deeper, and you almost feel like you are living in the outdoor space together with the landscape. Again, trying to create room without curtain.
In a sense that every family member, they almost want to have a sense of they live in their own private houses as well, because everyone has their own private courtyard.
And then the little opening at the right leads to this opening. It's the same opening, whereby when you step further away, it connects to another bench right outside that opening, where it leads to right to a swimming pool pond, like a water feature at the center. Further back again, where it's at the backdrop of the dinner table. So this is only one of the bedroom within this house. So every bedroom have this feature where the openings, the linkages, you have your own privacy, yet it's connected to the main living room. The sense of space of this house, you can almost imagine, is either the space ends at the wall of the pool, or it may ends right behind the window opening. The sense of the space is constantly interpreted differently based on where you are at in the house.
I think in this project, what we are trying to challenge is that in every project, we want to have a grasp of how big is the space and how big is the house. But for this job, we realize that people have no clue. They will get lost, even though the house land is not that big, because there's a multiple layer of window and wall that constantly allow the user to see beyond, to walk beyond.
So in this image, it's quite a intended feel that we want to create as you are having in your dining area. However, you feel like you are in the outdoor, you are in a pavilion, enjoying the space that is very, very large, connected to outdoor and the other bedrooms, whereby, like for example, the full height glass door will slide behind the wall and essentially disappear. Again, you want to push to see how far we can make the space as part of the garden. So every place, it seems like a garden. This is the back of the wall where the window will be sliding behind the... So all the details are designed that way to achieve the maximum connection between the family members and the connection between the owners to the nature.
Imagine the client come to us on the first meeting, telling us with one very weird requirement. He said, I want to design a house together with 3 other children, family member, and I don't want, he has 3 sons, all are married. He said, I don't want all my daughter-in-law every day come to the living room and watch TV together. No, everyone should have their own private space. Let them be in their own private space. They don't need to come out. That is why we designed this house with multiple private spaces.
And the way how we configure and arrange the design is taking inspiration from the Barcelona pavilion, the tectonic, the way how it is flexible in the perception shift of the depth. Some of the elements again, some reflective point being in the project further expand the perception of depth, like how deep is the space is. Whereby in this house, the central swimming pool, beside making the space a lot cooler, it also serves as such a space manipulator. So on different view, the pond will reflect, the swimming pool will reflect the space and change the feeling, the experience in the space. Again, this is the second living room. We try to expand the space so that once the corner glass door is fully open, it feels totally interconnected with the space outside. Same with the bedroom. We bring the same idea translated to every bedroom in this house. So another question that we try to expand upon are, what are the relationship between the user and the nature? The owner is a garden, is a lover of planting trees. So he always wanted to have his own garden, tending for his children and future generations. So one way that we make the space integrated or seems to be a part of the garden is such that we extended certain wall, we pull wall apart using the kind of tectonic shown in Barcelona pavilion to create this kind of space so that you don't feel that enclosed, you don't really see corners in the house. Every glimpse of what's behind is shown in a little part of it to kind of tease you to see what is behind so that you will move around more and feel connected to the whole space. Simple gesture like this, such as having certain offset of wall, could make the space a lot more dynamic. Again, blurring the boundaries so you don't really see where the clear boundary is not shown in the structure. So this is viewing towards the swimming pool inside. Many different photos can't show full extent of the project. And then at different time of the day, the landscape wall will look different because of the sun angle. The wall may appear darker because all of them are like different angles as well. So it interact with the sunlight differently.
I'm sorry that for this job, we could never show you what does the overall house look like because there is no one house of a photo for this job. Everything is broken down into pieces and fragmented space. I think that is the intention as well.
So during mid-noon, you may be seeing this kind of a shadow line on the wall. And then similarly with what we do for window house, we integrate the same kind of feature to light up the internal space, such as the bathroom, the shower area, or the stairwell just now. Similarly, same, we want to connect the user even in the powder room towards the nature. And the client loves this so much. And then, let's say at the 3 p.m. on a certain day of the month, you may see such a reflection reflected on the ceiling. It's always changing because only in a certain month you see this effect. And then so it looks like this. And it's always changing. It's not necessarily 3 box like that. Like for example, at a certain month, again around 3 to 4 p.m., the whole corridor ceiling will see the reflection of the swimming pool along with this whole dark concrete wall. Dancing and making the space a lot lively. So our floor plate, the walls, the concrete wall height, the position and the location of the living room are arranged in a way that to avoid the afternoon sun. So after, let's say, 11 a.m., the whole living room will not have any direct sunlight pouring into the living room. So that is one of the main starting point on how we configure the wall, besides making it like a garden. So, as mentioned just now, we want to craft an experience to the owner rather than an image. This is like the typical villa. Not only that they always have the curtain on with all the tinted glass, it's also very, very obvious it's one main building.
I guess this house has a lot of impact on our practice somehow.
Yeah.
Because we cannot help every time when client come to us, want to design a house, right? You think about So that image of one house, exterior view, is so crucial to all clients, but except Borderless House. There is no one image for him.
Yeah, essentially want to destroy or avoid having an image of like a mansion. So what we do is that what we do in the internal space, creating the garden feel, the same technique, the same design method, extend all the way to the side boundary at the perimeter. And then based on what we design on the views, the interaction between what you see on every opening, we configure it, lay it carefully, and integrate it at our perimeter boundary wall. So we have done several physical models, which we still love doing that, to test the effect, the height, where I expand towards the front. This is what the frontage looks like.
I guess you also will be confused where exactly is a setback, where exactly is a facade, where does it start. I think for the authority, they have problem to understand our drawings and how we define what is fence, what is facade, and what is landscape constantly. So I guess the line is really blur for them.
Yeah.
And also for us sometimes.
At a certain point, the building looks like it's a double story or more, taller than that. But actually, behind this is a ramp going up. On top is a single story, mostly single story footprint for this house. But the kind of illusion, because we extend this gesture towards the boundary, this is the effect. Furthermore, to even make it even more dramatic or to accentuate the sense of depth in the garden, we further enhance the space by having 3 different tones of concrete throughout the house. So this has undergone more than 10 times of mock-up testing, discussing with the supplier Lafarge. So they purposely, the whole concrete wall are homogeneous. It's not coated in a different color. The whole concrete wall is pigmented in a darker color. And of course, talking about resiliency, we may associate, just coincidentally, 3 of our projects are in concrete wall. It's not intended to withstand extreme weather or disaster. for this project, it's more to, the client is an infrastructure contractor. So the client have certain attachment, emotional feeling with concrete. So he have a special meaning to the owner. So these are some of the mock-up that we did and carry on to cast each of these walls one by one to further accentuate the sense of depth in the house. And all this wall, at a certain time of the day, it will look like this. Some wall may be darker. And let's say another 1 hour passed by, the wall will shift the color. Let's say in the morning and towards the late noon, the sense of depth in the space totally change. For example, during the night, the white wall will stand out, but during the daytime, the black wall, the darker wall will stand out. So you always feel kind of constantly change to make you aware of the surrounding. Like the wall inside, because it's under a shadow, it looks darker, but actually it's the same concrete. And the kind of a play in the materiality extend towards the floor finishes as well. So we have integrated alternatingly between the wood, timber texture towards the stone texture. The same exercise go through our selection of all the material in the house. So let's say this is the frontage. You see different tones of gray concrete wall that create a different depth of the space. Can't really gauge where the space begins, where it ends, how big is each space. To extend right to the boundary. And then beyond that, to craft the experience, we also want to remind ourselves back at how can we contribute to the streetscape. So this is part of the streetscape of what people could interact and will see. So for example, that kind of a recessed planter, we exercise it onto the boundary, the kind of effect there. So we kind of provide planters and creating garden view also to the street, to the public. Some of them we originally intend certain space for people to sit, but mainly is to have the landscape providing view, not only for outside and also from inside out. And as the owner loves trees, the initial design stage we proposed around 20 plus trees. I think at the moment there are more than 30 types of trees that is currently living happily in the site. So every tree the client have to choose is a combined effort, a teamwork effort between us and the client.
By the way, this house has no gardener. It's all taken care by the owner himself every day.
The curation of the location, the angle with all the windows, the height, the density of the plants, the trees, is a teamwork effort, not only from the selection and also for the tending to them. This is the car park area where we were intended to be part of the garden. So the whole garden scattered and is at the end a lot more trees right now at the site. So one corner that I want to highlight is that this little stretch of perimeter wall is facing the public road. So we exercise the same recess wall shifting method on that area and introduce 2 recessed planter box area. So from that area, again, we have using 3 tones of concrete wall, recess 2 part onto it, and this is what it looks like on the street at the moment. You almost cannot feel that there's a building there. That's what we want to achieve. It's more like a garden of house. And then from this area, not only that it creates certain special view from outside, from inside, you enjoy the garden feel and the view again. And stepping behind, this is what you see. So we were about to show a video trying to capture the essence of moving around the space inside.
I think to learn what we have done again, I have to look back to this house, which belongs to my grand uncle house. He lived alone in this house in Kampong Baru. In Chinese we call Xingchun, and he has this very wild landscape that naturally let it go wild. I thought it's an abandoned house, but my mom told me that he still lived inside. And what he was trying to do, he was using this wild landscape to do a few things. Number one, there is an animal farm under the tree. So there is some, it's like a chicken coop, basically. And number two, he actually grow a few edible plants within this area. And by doing so, he also think that the public will not trespass into the house because it looks really creepy. And I think he learns a few tricks about using landscape to deal with his neighbor while giving us this very natural streetscape and making his house nearly disappear. So I think to be resilient, it's really it's about creating a different social relationship that allow us to expand and contract in the built environment. So for us, for Form Zero, I think tropical landscape is what made and define our lifestyle. That is why we are very into it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Architect Lee Chung-yi and Caleb Ong, for the inspiring talk. We are now going to take a short tea break, but before that, we would like to remind all of you here to sign your attendance at the exhibition hall downstairs to ensure that you get the CPD points you've earned. Now let's look forward to a delightful breakfast tea break where you can recharge, network, and enjoy some refreshments at the left wing of the hall. And also do visit our sponsors booth during the break and discover some incredible architectural inspirations and innovations. To all the speakers and VIPs, please enjoy your tea break at the round table at the back of the hall. We will be back in 20 minutes, that is 11:20, for our next presentation. Please enjoy. Welcome back, everyone. I hope you had a chance to connect with your fellow architecture enthusiasts. As we move forward with our program, we're excited to introduce to you our next speaker. Meet Wiyoga Nurdiansyah, a young, prominent Indonesian architect known for his contemporary and culturally grounded designs. With a background in co-founding SUB Architects and working at Andra Martin Architects, he has garnered numerous awards and international recognitions. Wiyoga's design approach integrates various aspects from master planning to interior and furniture design, aiming to be a true partner to his clients, fostering a creative exchange of ideas. His work represents the forefront of visionary Indonesian architecture, and he has been a featured speaker at various international conferences. So now, it is with immense pleasure that I invite our next distinguished speaker, Wiyoga Nurdiansyah, to take the stage and share his profound insights on the topic, rethinking the local architecture context. Please welcome.
Oke, terima kasih. Thank you for the opportunity. It's an honor for me to be standing here in front of you. Okay, today I will speak about local context. For me, when we talk about resilient architecture, it's related to designing a sustainable space. Therefore, we can learn sustainability from the strength of the local architectural context around us. And then we can try to rethink the local context through a new approach. There are five contexts which then become the starting point for us to design. User, material, urban, climate, and culture. So we start with user. This is our project, Banjar House. So I will start the slide with car advertising image. You know, the first image is Toyota Kijang. In Indonesia, it's very famous. Kerjasama Indonesia-Jepang, so we call it Toyota Kijang. As you can see, in the 90s, you can bring your all family member, you know, your grandpa, your grandma, your auntie, your uncle. So the car is very big. As you can see in the next image, the car size is getting smaller. Even in 2022, it's only accommodate for 2 people only. So this one is Pondok Indah in 90s, the most luxurious area in South Jakarta. You know, the house is very big, like a castle. But in 2022, the house size is getting smaller, and smaller. So I think generational change create different way of life. The mindset regarding to efficiency and the high cost of living change the thinking about the size of a living space. Rethinking the user context, which has changing rapidly according to the times, will create new design ideas that more appropriate with the time. This is our design Banjar House. The client asked me to design a small house because he only want the house for 3 people only. So this is the living room, very small. At the upstairs is a bedroom. This one is a service area. When we do section, this is the living space. It's very small, and then 2 bedroom at the upside. This is the tilt wall. We create the tilt wall. It's like a yin-yang effect. So you have a small space here, and you have more bigger space here. The terrace is like extended from the living room. So if your family member come, you will have a more bigger space to accommodate your activity. So this is the facade. This is So this is the living room. Every day for daily life, you only have a small living room. And then the flexibility of space, you can create more space when you need more space for your family member. So this is the tilt wall as a yin-yang effect. I will tell you later in the next slide. This is the ramp. We use ramp as a main circulation to the 2nd floor. The void create connectivity between 1st floor to the 2nd floor. So this is what I mean, yin-yang effect. So we don't need a bigger space at the 2nd floor. So when we come to the house, we can tilt the wall, so it creates more spacious feeling at the bathroom at the 2nd floor. So I think we can find the same phenomenon in the tourism industry. This is the image of Intercontinental Jimbaran. I think one of the biggest hotel resort in Bali. But in 2008, when Airbnb came, everything then changed. Everyone can be a hotel operator, even for a small villa. So this is our view for our next project. Is it located in Bandung, 3 hours drive from Jakarta. So we commissioned to design a small villa for honeymooners. So the main idea is how to create a villa with the maximum privacy. We create a black mysterious box, so where everyone cannot see inside the villa. It's very privacy. So this is the section. It's located on the sloping contour. So we create a split design villa where you can easily going up to the living area or going down to a bedroom. We're using ramp as a main circulation vertical. So this is the black box mysterious. We create a singular circle void to create a playing light and shadow effect when you come to the villa. So the first space when you arrive at the villa, you will see this kind of void. It will create more possibilities of the shadow of the light. Yeah, this is the circulation. We're using ramp with the wooden lattice, so it's create more fresh air come from the below. We also use the reflective material to create more spacious effect for the living area. Yeah, it's look like you have a big void here, but actually it's only a mirror we put on the ceiling. Yeah, it's the ambiguous space between inside and outside, and then you have a light there. Yeah, again, we are going down to master bedroom using a lattice screen for the ramp, skylight above to create the light and shadow. Yeah, master bedroom. Framing the view as if you have a big painting beside your bed. It's like connectivity to the nature. Yeah, we call it Lembang is it's like a little Ubud Bali. You can swim in front of the view. No sound? Okay, this is the video. Yeah, we use a lot of lattice wood to create more fresh air. Yeah, it's okay. Okay, it's better. This is the main bathroom. You have feeling an outdoor space inside your bathroom. Okay, next context will be material. This is our project in Lombok. Yeah, as you know, in 2018, an earthquake hit Lombok, which destroyed most of the concrete and brick buildings. But as you see, some wooden house still remain standing. I think Indonesia has many different kind of wood. Each local wood has different characteristics and treatments. We learn from our ancestors how to make wooden structure and how to process tropical wood into a strong material. So in this project in Lombok, we use an ironwood as a material for the house. The layout of the house is very simple. It's a linear house with a mezzanine in front of your living area. We create two different construction methods. One, at the site, we using stone as a substructure, as a foundation. And then at the wood workshop, we create a structure of the house. After finish, you can open and bring to the site and reassemble it back. Yeah, when we assemble it in the site, it's like that. This is all using ironwood. Even for the roof, we're using an ironwood. I think this one is a fast-track building construction. It took only for 4 months. Oh, this is the result. As you can see, we use a lot of wood for floor, wall, ceiling, even the roof. We're using the same material with the different treatments. You can see the details almost same with previous project. We're using a lattice wood to create the fresh air come from below. Yeah, this is the same detail. Yeah, at the end, it creates the house is like a blending with the site, with the nature. So with the same idea, we designed a house using wooden materials. This is because the client has a lot of wood stock. One day, the client asked me to come to his storage. He said that he have a lot of wood. And then I think we inspired by the detail of traditional window. I think maybe here in Malaysia have the same typical window. On the other side, this is Jeffrey Bawa's project. Really like Jeffrey Bawa's design because about the layout, about the material, about the symmetrical design, about the detail. I think it's very good in design. So the house is simple. The house layout is simple. It's a linear house. I connected with a ramp from first floor to the second floor. This is the section. Yeah, this is the detail. It's a symmetrical facade inspired by Jeffrey Bawa, and then with the same column. This is actually the column is the steel, and we cover it with the wood. So it's just like a tectonical detail, how joining between wood and steel. So this is the result. Every part of window, there is a cross ventilation come. Yeah, we use a ramp to get to the second floor. Basically, the house is very small, but you can easily come to the second floor. This is when we walk at the bridge, connecting from kids' bedroom to the master bedroom. So when you first come to the house, you will see the vertical space of terrace. And then you can see the detail, lattice wood. It's create fresh air come into the house. Yeah, this is the terrace. Maybe it's small, but it's more spacious because it's like a 2-floor ceiling. Yeah, the lighting. Okay, move to other project, urban context. When we have a project that located in the middle of city, we should observe the urban context. By doing that, we can have a wider perspective in our design. We can see the history of the city or the problem faced by city, and then translate them into a new design idea. So this is our installation for Bintaro Design District 2020. The theme is urban intervention. Our studio is located in Bintaro, and we're facing the problem. We think that there is no street furniture here, so the pedestrian, we try to create a street furniture that can support pedestrian activities. The word of intervention is from the two words, egg and intervention. It's basically the design is just like if you crack the egg and then create some foam, and then the intervention, how we intervention the city with our installation. So we create a lot of street furniture here. It's like a table, a chair, a bench. We assemble a lot of steel. This is table, how we joining to the structure. This is the bench. Yeah, we're using a carabiner strap. Usually we use for outdoor activities, for camping, or maybe for, if you see the off-road car, they're using the same strap to pull the car. And we try to standing on the chair. Is it strong enough? So this is the egg shape. We install it on the side. Yeah, the shape of the bench is organically follow the contour because the landscape is sloping down, so the bench is also sloping down. Yeah, the other chair, we strap it to the existing urban. It's like a tree, it's like a pole. This one is, we create a table to match with the wall. So you can use the chair while you're waiting the pedestrian crossing light. Okay, we move to another project. This is also urban project. Nagomi Suite Jakarta is our hotel project at South Jakarta. So in 1950, Kebayoran Baru designed as a garden city concept. This is a book about Kebayoran. The area is at south of Jakarta. Kebayoran designed by Muhammad Susilo, an urban planning architect who was the student of Thomas Karsten, a Dutch architect who designed many cities on the island of Java. As you can see, this is the planning in the 1948, and this is the map from Google 2023. The green belt, we still see the green belt, but it's already changed a lot. So from the context of the history of that city, I think why don't we design a hotel respond to the history of the city. This is Kebayoran Baru in 1950 to 1970. It's a lot of green area. This is our hotel. It's not too far from Taman Ayodhya. So it's like create a stacking vertical garden from the first floor to the fifth floor. This is the section. This is Taman Ayodhya. It's not too far from the site. So the idea is just like connecting the urban park continues to the our hotel. Yes, stacking garden every floor, so every room have their own garden. Yeah, this is on the other side, facing to the backyard. This is a surface area. We cover it with roof garden. So if you have on the back side, your room also can still see the green area, the interior of the hotel. There is a connection between every room, between bathroom to the bedroom. We use only a simple color. Yeah, in the bathtub you can see the television. Use simple material as brick, concrete, and wood. That's Taman Ayodhya. Okay, next project, climate. The climate context have a big impact on design. As tropical country, we have a lot of possibilities to use climate as a starting point to design. In 2018, Andra Matin, together with us, had the opportunity to design a mosque in Taman Ismail Marzuki, an arts and culture center in Jakarta. We choose light and shadow as a theme. So for me, there is no specific guidelines for designing mosques. So this is 1949, as you can see, the tower of the mosque, influenced by Hindu Buddhism style. And Indonesia is the country with the equator. So maybe twice a year you will have equinox phenomenon. So if you're standing at the middle of the day, there is no shadow. So we call it a day without shadow. This one is solar chart, Indonesian solar chart. So you can see Java Island is very red, a lot of sun there. I think this one is Batman comic. Yeah, everybody I think will be like it. When James Garden need Batman's help, he will project it the light and then create some Batman logo here. So we inspired by the comics. So we try to make a mosque that projected light as a prayer line. So this is the basic idea. We're using 1.2 by 1.2 grid for the prayer line. The minaret, the tower, is we put the tower in front of the mosque. This one is service area, ablution area. So the sections going like this. We create a waffle beam. It's a structure, it's as a structure. It's also as a planter box at the roof garden. And we create a skylight in between the beam. So at the day, we will see the light perfectly in line with the prayer line. This is the model. We try to see the projection about the light. So this is the mock-up when they try to make the sample of a concrete. At the upside, it's going to be a planter box. Downside is a ceiling for the mosque. This is the casting form for the concrete. So this is the project construction. As you can see, we create the light on the floor. Yeah, this is exactly at 12 when Zuhur time. It's perfectly in line with the saf, we call it saf, prayer line for a Muslim. Okay, this is my last project, culture. I think the culture context is very important for us. We were selected as 12 young architects to design a pioneer airport in Indonesia. Our site is in Tanjung Lesung, a new tourism destination in the west side of the Java Island. We call it Salakanagara Airport. So as you know, this is the Soekarno-Hatta Airport, the biggest airport in Indonesia. The form, the shape taking from the joglo, we call it joglo roof. And this is the image of house of Baduy tribe. Baduy is the native tribe near the site. But rather than use the form as a basic idea, we try to looking a new perspective by thinking about the essence of the culture. It's like they always use the monolith material, stone as a pathway, as a pedestrian, and then connect it to the house, and then they wearing the same material for wall, for beam, for column, for roof. That's, I think, more interesting for us to redefine about the culture context for our projects. So we think by taking the essence of traditional architecture ideas, we'll create more interesting design possibilities. So this is the airport, a small airport. We create an interactive layout. It's like an organic, but in the same time is geometric. The building area is 2,500 meters square. And then it's like the organic design is create a relationship between space more fluid. And then we take the two edges of the roof. It create a more spacious space on departure and arrival area. The roof structure twist to create dynamic roof shape. Inspired by local culture. The stacking and porous roof creates cross and natural ventilation inside the airport. So this is the final shape. Yeah, as you see, we create a gap between the roof, so it's allow the fresh air come to the airport. Yeah, this is the rendering of the airport. Yeah, as a tourism area, we use earth color materials. We choose like a terracotta color to give a relaxing, calming, and welcoming impression to the tourists when they come to Tanjung Lesung. So we choose only one material for the airport. This is the lobby area. This is the musola. When you first come to the departure, you will see the high ceiling. This is the arrival area, and there's more short ceiling. So we create also a big cylinder to let the lights come. Yeah, the airport is only for 280 air, 70 or maybe 60 passengers per flight. Yeah, this is the drop area when you drop the passenger. Yeah, light, shadow, and then this is the retail area. We choose using one material. Departure lounge, the light come, and while you're waiting your flight. Yeah, this is the arrival area. Also light come, just like welcoming you to Tanjung Lesung. Night view. Yeah, this is the bird eye view. Okay, this is the end of the presentation. Thank you. Terima kasih. Terima kasih.
Thank you, Yoga, for the enlightening presentation. Now, let me introduce our next speaker, Patrick Keane, the visionary founder of Enter Projects Asia, a leading sustainable design firm in Southeast Asia. Their innovative approach, as seen in projects like Bangalore Airport Garden City and Spice and Barley Restaurant and Bar, has garnered international acclaim in the wellness and sustainability sector. With a diverse portfolio spanning 5 continents, including the iconic projects such as Bayan Tree Phuket, Patrick Keane is not only a design maven, but also a staunch advocate for grassroots sustainability. He'll discuss the core principles of going local, noble material choices, and ergonomic designs, emphasizing sustainable practices. Please join me in welcoming Patrick Keane to share insights on grassroots sustainability on an urban scale.
Well, thanks very much, everyone. I understand we're running a little bit late, so we'll just get on with it. Enter Projects Asia started off with a journey, and that was also fostered in the lockdown. So the COVID experience and the whole lockdown period really fostered us to focus and generate what we refer to as Southeast Asian architecture. At the core of our company, we believe that we're a grassroots, sustainable design firm. And one of our initiatives is called Project Rattan, which includes the arts and crafts of Southeast Asia. And through Project Rattan, we've embraced the philosophy of sustainability and responsible design. We celebrate the traditions of the local arts and crafts and infuse our designs with contemporary aesthetics. The success of Project Rattan has gone past the borders of going local. So we started going local, and now we've gone global. And we work worldwide in five continents right now. With this idea of being innovative and sustainable and design focused, it's very, very hard to find a builder that is aligning with your ideals. So through the process, we actually had to build in our own unique building technologies and start to get more into the fabrication side of architecture, not necessarily through my intention or designs, but as we started doing smaller projects like yoga studios and restaurants and bars, we grew now into, and this project here, I'm not sure if I have a pointer. Does this? Okay, so this project here is some of the interiors for Bangalore Airport. And some of these structures are 750 square meters and 8 meters high. So this is our factory. So we work very closely with fabrication and technology and design integrated in what is arguably a more vertical approach to building and design. So we had to re-examine everything and all processes with architecture and concepts and delivery and deployment and fabrication and construction. So the business is also, as mentioned, grassroots, and you see some people here. These are the arts and crafts people of Thailand. They have sometimes 5 generations of skill, if not more. And we have a joke in the company. We don't actually have any real direct competition. The only competition we have is the importation of inferior plastic products from other countries, putting these people out of business. So we've probably employed up to 300 people at one time. That includes their families' welfare and a continuation of the arts and crafts tradition in Thailand and Southeast Asia. That is very, very important because these people are now able to work on projects that are overtly commercial in scale, that we work for clients, we work for hospitality clients, infrastructure, and so instead of an artisan making a basket or a chair or a table and sending it to the marketplace to be purchased or sold, they can actually work on projects that are visible, global, and contributing to the aesthetics of contemporary architecture and design. We like to say that the right angle is the wrong angle. We look to fluid forms in nature as inspiration and as an ethos to our brand, purely because we think architecture is non-static. We think that you need to move around it, you need to see it from several vantage points to understand the complexity of the discipline of the design. And we source inspiration from fluid aspects and fluid dynamics. So we look to clouds, steam, smoke, and forms in nature. And that engages with people flow. We also joke that we like to have our users meander through the designs rather than go in a more directional point-to-point activity. The world doesn't have to be rush hour. Sometimes it's nice to reflect on one's environment and look around as we exist or coexist. So these are some of the fundamentals behind what we do and what we proceed to build. I've traveled many continents and lived in several, but actually we are now formed in Bangkok. We started 6 years ago in Southeast Asia full-time, 5 years ago part-time, and we have 2 directors. One is myself, and also Renee Paul, who couldn't join us today, unfortunately. He's the one that comes up with the extensive design and detailing skills, making these projects all come together. He's worked on a broad mix of projects ranging from infrastructure, wellness, hospitality, and master planning. Another thing about our team is that we don't just have architects on our team, we have architects, interior designers, a little bit of master planning, but people that can put together and fabricate projects at different ages. So we have some installers that are working with us full-time and brainstorming as we go along. What we look for in the company is more of a lexicon or a connection of people. The people make everything, and we have a whole series of skills, and there's nothing better for me to put a digital designer that has recently graduated from university together with an artisan or an arts and crafts person in their 60s and having them communicate about how to build and generate and develop ideas, because I think nothing in the world is new, but the combination, uniqueness of how you put things together can always be new and innovative. And behind all of this, we have a very, very strong technological focus. We work with the latest technologies. We do a lot of 3D printing. We do a lot of file-to-factory techniques and also generative designs with Grasshopper and those kinds of platforms. These are a few of our accolades or awards. They mean something to us because it means that somebody else has telling us that we've hit the mark. We don't just give ourselves compliments, but we want to resonate on many levels in the field of design. These are some more images from a different host of publications. So what you see here is interiors, wellness, and Architectural Digest, which is an architecture magazine. Through this whole process of press recognition, we noticed that our projects were always, before they were niche designs, yoga studios, wellness pavilions, these kinds of things. And as that was unfolding in the COVID years, or the years just prior to that, wellness was now becoming mainstream. This is a selection of projects that I'll go through. And I apologize, I don't have as in-depth presentations as what we've just seen with beautiful plans and sections and elevations, but I'll go through this in due course. So it all started with a yoga center in Bangkok, and the purpose was to build a wellness space in an urban city grid in a very, very dense area in Bangkok, to introduce nature internally and the forms in nature internally. So it's really a juxtaposition of nature and the urban environment. This project was invented, shall we say. We couldn't find a builder. Nobody wanted to participate in our, I guess, logic or how we wanted to put the concept and the ideals of what we were about together. So we had an ideal with the client. The client really, really pushed us to develop something in conjunction with his philosophy and his ideas. He's a very, very well-known yoga sensei. And so the spaces were supposed to flow. So the image on the right is actually the client. It's not me. And he was part of the photo shoot. We had this shot by Ed Sumner from London. And on the left, you get a sense of how we're stripping down the materials to the bare, natural aspect of what the design is meant to entail. So it's meant to change in the day and the night and be, I don't want to use the word monochromatic because that sounds dull, but to get to the essence of the grains of wood, of the rattan, and the movement of flow of the ideals of the design, like a chapter or a feeling or a spirit that somebody goes through when they're doing yoga. I tried to do some yoga a few times, but I'm not at his level, so I'm sticking with architecture, and that should be okay for me. Yeah, so again, this is the client. And this project, unfortunately, went into hibernation in lockdown, and it still exists now for a multi-purpose room. But yeah, it was a sense of achievement for us because we've got almost like a very, very precise level of design, but a very, very rustic nature element coming through into the spaces. So we wanted indirect lighting. We wanted something to be more atmospheric rather than illuminative, so the lighting was an important play. And here, this is intended to be very, very rustic and break down the hard edges of nature. So the smells of the straw, of the woods, of the rattans were all the essential elements that you have in nature that we were looking to bring into this project. I don't have a plan, unfortunately, but there's no way you can walk from one point to the next. You have to meander and go through and discover all of these areas. So on to the next project. This was for Minor International, who are a very, very large development company in Thailand. And they wanted to do a space that was Southeast Asian, fusion. Like what everybody's talking about these days with Southeast Asian cooking, Southeast Asian fusion in design. How do we come about that? So they gave us this very, very difficult space to work with. The interior is 9 meters high. It's actually 3 internal floors, and we have a view of the city in the distance. And all of this work here is in rattan. It's meant to imitate the goldness of a Thai temple that you see on the horizon, the flow of beer, and a natural element that is the essence of Southeast Asian design. It's quite a large space, and we wanted to fill it with something. We needed to be very confident, we needed to be very bold, because this project was to be viewed from many vantage points, from the street, from across the street, from the balcony, from all of the areas in the neighborhood. This project was completely handmade, and it was something that we had to take on board. With a restaurant, you have all the service, you have all of the air conditioning, you have all the beer lines, you have the electrical, you have the taps. So this weave, if you like, is hiding all of those. And the forms and shapes are actually covering all of those specific requirements. For example, if you look here, this is all of the air conditioning. In there, you have access panels, lighting, beer lines. And if you really start to look at the image, it's rattan arts and crafts combined with modern function, overtly modern, overtly commercial requirements. So our big push is to how to create an environment where the arts and crafts can work together in, again, overtly commercial requirements, public spaces, settings that can keep the tradition of the arts and crafts alive, but also dovetail it with contemporary design. So this was an achievement for us on another level. We finished it. Everybody polished the glasses. They set the tables, ready for the big opening. Next day, lockdown. So mothballs was put on this for, I think, 18 months or 2 years. The curtains were lifted off, and we went back in the space. It looked exactly the same. We were happy. We had the party. Life goes on. It also taught us that if you have a wall or a screen or something, how do we make those elements three-dimensional? How do we introduce craft into all of those generic surfaces? My answer is introduce arts and crafts, introduce lighting. Don't illuminate so you can see. Light surfaces, create atmosphere. Go away from the generic. Don't always look on the internet. Don't look for systems. Here, very, very little things that we put into this project were found on the internet. So with those two projects, they were indicators of what our potential scale was, and it started jumping up quite quickly from that point. Here's a eco-sustainable garden and retail airport located in Bangalore, India. It's due to be completed at the end of this year, most likely Q1 of next year. We were hired to do all of the commercial spaces, not the transit areas, and the shell was done by SOM out of USA. So this portion here, the underside, is our area. Restaurants, bars, wellness. Think a garden city, the concept of Bangalore. So the whole zone is a giant garden. In here you have these deep pockets of garden spaces that go down 3 floors with 800-year-old olive trees. If anybody's been to Kew Gardens in London, imagine that and park some aeroplanes out the front and you're getting close to the visual concept. This was given to us by the client. They said, we want to go into this space and we want to have a tactile experience. We want to be in nature. We've put this big shell. We've covered the space. The ceilings are 11 meters high. We want to build not an airport, we want to build an environment. So they called us and they said, help, what can we do? We have this idea for some zoning. How can we do that? And we came up with this pod concept, almost just like the yoga studio ideas, but turbocharged into at least 10 times the scale, if not more. So these spaces here range from about 400 square meters to 750 square meters. So they're actually buildings internally in terms of this exterior shell. The most important takeaway for us is we used 9 kilometers of rattan. All of those other materials you could get off the internet, you could buy from suppliers, plaster boards, plastic this, plastic that, with all due respect, other materials that you could cover, paint, all of those things. Let's take that out of the equation and replace it with 9 kilometers of a material that grows like a reed, is almost an invasive species that is free and available all the way through Southeast Asia, from the Philippines to India and everything in between, China, everywhere like that. So we're doing design, we're working with arts and crafts, but we also have an accountability from an overtly sustainable grassroots position to deliver projects like this. These materials can't do everything, but they can do 9 kilometers of what other materials cannot do. So here, when you build this kind of project, you have to detail it in different ways. You have to almost get rid of all the things you've learned or picked up in conventional building design to come up with new ideas. How do you put windows in there? How do you create privacy? So we came up with a series of geometric scripts. So if you look at the facade, they change. They become more open and more closed with a gradient, detecting where the back of house is and where the front of house is. These are all restaurants. One's a restaurant, one's a bar, one's a gift shop, and the other two, one's an arts and crafts sections and the other one's a gift shop. So how do we put this in the space? How do we get this from Thailand? How do we ship it? How do we say, here you go, guys, it's all ready to go? Logistics. Every single panel you see here is broken down. Every container is modeled in 3D. All of the panels are simulated in the container and the container goes off. So we're up to about 25 to 30, 40-foot containers, but it's a short trip across the strait, the Andaman, and this is the end result. So these people here work for us, and they're part of that vertical procedure. So these guys are coming to the office and talking to the 3D modeler. They talk to the fabricator, they talk to the installer. And so this is how we started to develop the logistics side of the design. So I think I would mention to anybody studying architecture to really think about how your designs come together and start to work with contractors or how to build it. We don't contract everything ourselves, we still subcontract, we work with builders all the time, but I think if you have a real interest in architecture and building, that's something very, very important to look into and never accept the compromises a contractor might know through his limited knowledge, to actually push them, to put the pressure on them, for them not to put the pressure on you. So these are more photographs of the interiors. you start to see the effect of what a natural material can do. We don't need color schemes or paints to warm the space up or give it different environments. It does it itself. This is another project that we're working on, entirely different. It was part of an existing hotel on a UNESCO heritage site in Bohol in the Philippines. Very, very difficult to get to, but a beautiful place. So this is our region in here, in the master plan, right in the center. And we showed up the first day, and they had poured this slab. And they said, okay, well, what are we going to do with the rest of this project? How do we make this a statement about environment, about sustainability? And we said, well, you've got 680 square meters to play with that ceiling. You can go A, generic, leave it industrial and concrete. B, put plasterboard in there. Or C, introduce a plant-based solution, rattans, reeds, bamboos, these kinds of things. So we're using this roof in rattan, and we're doing the conference ceiling. And in that project, with that simple decision of not using plasterboard or studs or framing, we're using 1 kilometer of rattan, of plant-based materials. This is the beach pavilion that we're doing. This is meant to be something that changes in the light. It moves from sunrise to sunset in terms of coloring. We're not moving the building, but the building shimmers and moves across the landscape. We're also doing more pavilions. So these projects are actually not what we would call interior buildings. They're not follies, but they're pavilions. So we really wanted to introduce to the client that in terms of materials, products, waste, do we really need to air condition? Do we need to cover up spaces? Do we need to do doors and windows for everything of a space that you're only using part-time? We're also doing a series of giant bridges, and these are being detailed right now. So in these bridges, we have a growth concept, like an ivy or a vine, and the bridges will change through time and let nature take over. On to another project. This is a private gallery in Chiang Mai. Very, very different purpose. It's a museum, a private museum for sculpture and the arts and crafts. It was intended to be a place to show the owner's private collection of sculpture and arts. And it gave us a possibility to look at how people present art. Art is usually presented flat on the wall, even if it's a three-dimensional piece. We wanted to rethink that. We wanted to introduce something that's more meandering in form and shape and more of a Southeast Asian context in terms of materials, in terms of closeness of inside and outside barriers, cross-ventilation and those kinds of things. So we came up with a concept of breaking everything down. We wanted to have something going on outside, something going on inside, something going on in the left and the right, all highly clearly visible, using reflection and water as a device to combine it all together. So not 3D, but 4D, making it amenable to all different directions simultaneously. So what you can see, the way art draws you to it in a non-structural way, in a self-inventive way of meandering. So not like the National Gallery in London where you go to room A, room B, room C, room D. You can choose your course. If you have 5 minutes, you can walk around. If you've got 5 hours, you can do a different thing. We put a lot of bench seating. We introduced natural materials and spaces, and we used rattan as a light source, as a seat, and most importantly, as a storage unit for the art. So the art is meant to be housed on all of these shelves, and one can walk around the pods and get a glimpse of what's inside, and then go inside and start to look at the collection. So back to the Thai arts and crafts. It introduces a warmth, a tactility, and a texture in an environment. What I would perceive as in an art gallery is actually quite antiseptic, quite clinical, sometimes soulless. I think it's important that things have a context and they get displayed in different ways. I put this project on the board because it's a very, very different project from the airport, and we're working at different scales at Enter Projects Asia. So the nice thing about working with the arts and crafts is the detail. You can zoom right in. It's a commercial project, but you've got some finesse, you've got some handwork, you've got some details with the bonsai and the moss. So these projects, we're looking to work at many, many scales, at fine-tuned scale and something more holistic, more environmental, that simulate larger aspects or forms in nature. This is our project that we've just started doing a concept development for the banyan tree. This is the very, very first project that they ever did. They bought a site because nobody else wanted to buy it. It was cheap. It was the edge of a tin mine. It was in Phuket. There's no direct view to the sea, so it was a no-no. This is where the pool villa was invented. And I think everybody knows what a pool villa is. It's all over Asia, even worldwide. This was their very, very first project. It's 39 or 40 years old. That's great. We went in there. You could see the charm in the place. Very beautiful. The layout, very classic. Only one problem. They haven't done anything to it in 40 years. The electrics, the wiring, the plasterboard. I would use the analogy, a box of crumbling cookies. So we wanted to preserve the project. We wanted to use the patina and the history of this brand that is arguably a very notable brand in Southeast Asia or worldwide, and tune it up and make it refer to itself in a more nature-based way. So the pool villa it's a very classic layout now in Southeast Asia. We wanted to strip it back and actually work on it so it's more of a wellness space. How do you stretch out the yoga mat? How do you use it actively? How do we take away the barrier of internal and external? How do we open up the doors? And so these are some of the ideas that we started working with: tactility, openness, ease of convenience of circulation, to what was originally quite a formal, quite a corporate interior, which I don't have any images of, but I will include them in the next presentation. So I think for us it was all about the section. How do we start to mix up the bedroom, the living room, and the open spaces and combine them all into one? So this area here previously was covered in walls. It was all subdivided up, and now it's more of an open space with some very, very basic amenity of screening and shutting for the bathrooms and so on. So the connection is all across, from the left of the yoga sala, or the yoga sala, to the outdoor space, to the bedroom, to the closed living room, and everything in between. These are the rooms. They have a pitched classic Thai shape. And I said to the owner, look, we don't do Thai temples, we do contemporary design. We want to make it more organic. We want to make it something that's a little bit more refreshing, more open. And she said, okay, let's put a sculpture in there. And we took the tape measure out and realized that from the carpet to the top of the Thai temple was 7.5 meters high. The previous scheme is all covered up and you can't even see the height of the space. So it's small things like that. Sometimes it's about removing and taking things out in design than adding the additive process. I'm skeptical of the additive process in design. Too many materials, too much stuff, too many screens, too much this, too much that. I think editing in our office is something that we improving at all the time, but any architect or designer should really, really have the confidence to edit. And if they don't have the confidence to edit, put down an idea in the morning, leave it, put it to one side, work on something else the whole day, and then come back and look at both. I promise you, you'll look at the one that you have been working on, not the one you've forgotten about. If in doubt, throw it out. These are some small studies that we're doing to counteract this. How do we... Yes, it's a great view. It's fantastic, but how do we sometimes take a break from that? Sometimes the answer is to work with an internal courtyard to recalibrate one's mind, to blow the boundaries, to stop screen burnout. The whole world is suffering from overstimulation, and so we tried to introduce a stillness and a calmness in our designs where possible. This is a project I'm going to jump into very quickly. It's under construction. Everything you see in this project is located within 5 kilometers of the job site. So all of the bricks are handmade, the trees, of course, the roof, all of the materials are very, very local. It's a courtyard house, and it's meant to be a getaway, meant to be a place for calmness and reflection. We worked a lot with wall gradients and screens, so the owner can actually just look at the wall and see it change through the course of the day. This was on a typical suburban site where you have a 3-meter setback on the left, a 3-meter setback on the right, and a double-story house with masses of air conditioning. We took those calculations and we turned them upside down. We put a house, a 3-meter house on the left, a 3-meter house on the right, and nothing in between. So the house, in a traditional suburban setting, should actually sit right in that courtyard. Call me a skeptic, call me highly negative, but something's not quite right in the suburban condition that people just grow and learn and accept. Sometimes you have to turn it on its head or rethink those things, as was evidenced in many of the houses that we saw earlier. Beautiful houses. Thanks, guys. So this is the aerial view, and hopefully it'll be finished for a Christmas party. It's a little bit more developed than that, but it gives you a sense of the variety of projects that we undertake. This is a concept design that we had for Desiro, Malaysia. I wanted to put it in because I'm standing in Malaysia, and it's very, very early stage concepts, but we wanted to again introduce our nature walkways and pathways and something that's a less formal approach to hospitality and a sense of arrival, and something that's a little bit more nature-based, like a grove of trees or a pathway that you see in nature that has formed itself. So these are the buildings, and they are indeed a grove or a cluster of buildings and spaces that will develop into this idea that we have with a very, very large open pool and these mushrooms or trees, if you like, that we will inhabit with different levels of program. So for example, we'll take a small one and make it into a bar sanctuary or an idea for hospitality. This is another project that we did several years ago. It was meant to be a retail space that is really taking nature and breaking it down. The base for this project was a spiral car park, and to cover it with something that is connecting it to nature. So again, in elevation, you've got the spiral car park on all of these elements, and we have the major concessionaires and vendors, but the people, the inhabitants, are actually intended to self-program or self-function the space. They're meant to not just come and go, come to the shopping center and then leave. It's meant to be a place to stay, active lifestyle, something that you can meander through and use in different levels based on your time frames for the day. Entwine, vine, branch, tree, rattan are buzzwords that we like to use, the connectors in nature and the connectors that we see in the built environment and the things that we look to for the next step in building, the next step in construction. I think it's very important not to be held back now as architects or designers with the limits of the constraints of building. I think it's more important to reach out to other forms and other sources for inspiration. This is a multi-use development that we're in progress right now. It's intended to be for relaxation, recreation, and social interaction, more so than a place for anything else. It's part of a wellness program that we're doing with a client. It's called a pharmacy, spelt F-A-R-M. So it's a pharmacy for self-invention and healing, blurring the boundaries of outdoor and indoor. These are some quick concepts that we're developing for the project. Forest with roof covers, libraries that have gardens, combining these disparate or seamlessly, usually disconnected elements and bringing them together. Sometimes you want to be in a library, sometimes you want to be in a garden, sometimes you want both. I think the rise of boringness or bland environments in general in the last 20th century has come up with a huge social pressure on disconnection. I think places can be designed or presented to create connections with people. People need connection. I think the lockdown taught us that. Yes, it was nice to work a while from home, but it's also good to meet colleagues and friends and stay connected, family, and so on and so forth. So For us, it's a really, really big idea to design spaces with connection, with purpose. Definitely activity-based, more active lifestyle. These are some more concepts that we're dealing with that whole project that mentioned earlier. Proximity to water. Asia or Southeast Asia or Thailand has a problem with water. We have too much. Since we filled the klongs in Bangkok, everything has risen. So instead of fight it, we want to embrace it. We want to show it. We want to work with connectors, communal wellness and restaurants, and actually embrace water features and use the natural nature of the klongs or those elements to really showcase the design, to allow the design to meander in between the natural forms and features. This is also part of that project, and water is absorbed into this project almost like a sponge. So you have the base building grid, and then we will furnish this design with sustainable materials and also water, liquid elements in nature. So we're almost using water as a material that is part of the whole rejuvenative process, a refreshment process. Wellness farming. Everybody can do a little bit of farming themselves, even if it's in a pot this big. Farming techniques go back to age-old time, and this is the inspiration for us for this idea right here. This is what we're working with. That's what you use in a farm. That's the core material. A farm doesn't really look like anything. It's something that grows out of the ground. What you put there, you get back. And so the architecture is part of that. It's part of that natural reserve, and it's also a giving back to nature on many levels and touching the earth lightly. From the farm, this is a garden restaurant concept that we're deploying. So the gardens and the restaurant actually blend together to a seemingly non-structured layout or a structured layout. This is another idea that we have on green gardens. We're doing a study on the site, and this is the project here. So we have a lake, we have access roads, we have parking, staff, farms, some golfing, units, communal wellness, and stores. So we want to bring all that together. We want to integrate that into a holistic solution. Sometimes the right angle is the wrong angle. So we're introducing a series of looped directions of something that's not formal. This is some layouts. And this is the final overview of the project. How much time do I have? How much time do I have? Finish? I'm over. Okay, I'm going to leave the slide on that note. I'm sorry if I've gone over time. But thank you very much for having me. And if you have any questions, please stop me in the hallway. Or thanks again to the organizers for developing this great conference.
Thank you, Patrick, for your inspiring sharing. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll have an exciting online quiz activity lined up for you with 10 fantastic prizes, each offering touch and go e-wallet credits worth 50 ringgit. Here's how to participate. Simply scan the QR code on screen here, and it'll direct you to the quiz page. You have the chance to win these prizes by answering the questions, where you can find the answers at the exhibition hall downstairs. Remember, to be eligible for these exciting rewards, please make sure that you like and follow PAM Northern Chapter's official Facebook page. Now, it's time to refuel and recharge with a well-deserved lunch break. So enjoy your meal and don't forget to check out what our sponsors and the exhibition have to offer. So please make sure you return at 1:55 p.m. and we'll reconvene after the break for more enriching sessions and discussion. Please enjoy your meal.